Angel Sight 6, Episode 4, Part 2. At that moment, blindness came over my eyes, like two tubes being compressed to the center. Though there was no sound coming from me, my mind was screaming out in pain. I am sorry, but I do not have the vocabulary needed to make you understand the intensity of the fire that was searing on my soul at that moment. Seeing only darkness in my mind's eye, I was suddenly back in New Orleans. Envisioning myself seated on a metal chair, the same invisible birds were stabbing and gouging at my head. The pain and encounter were identical to what I was experiencing at that moment in the hotel. Suppressed memories of New Orleans and the attack were suddenly in my mind. Stay with me as I take you back a little further in time to the point where I just entered the courtyard. Seated on a folding metal chair, it felt good to sit down. Several days of sightseeing had taken their toll. Scanning the area, I noticed a bar on my left, restaurant in front, and dark corner ahead on my right. Sensing something in the corner, I began taunting the demon I believed was hiding in the shadows. In my mind, I repeated on and off for the next 10 minutes, "You're so weak. You're such a coward. My father is so much stronger than you. Show yourself, you coward." Then, while staring into the dark corner, I watched as a face emerged, looked at me, and then disappeared into the abyss. Seeing the image before when I was 7, it emerged from a commercial laundry room fire and was accompanied by a lion's roar. This is a story for another day. Continuing my stare on the void, a single white flash rotated in the upper left corner. Assuming it was a reflection, my soul was suddenly rocked when a demon slammed into me with the power of a freight train. Pain beyond description came over my body as a flurry of stabbing blows rained down on me. Watching as my eyes went dark, the attack was identical to what I was experiencing at that moment in the hotel. It is no wonder God withheld the memory of the first assault and gave me time after the second. If not, I may have gone mad. Sensing an angel as it passed the left side of my head, the pain instantly cleared. Moments later, a second angel streaked by, relieving the right half. With vision restored, control of my senses returned as things around me started to come into focus. Taking the step down, I turned and faced Carl. Sitting on the uppermost level with his feet in the notch, he was looking at me with a puzzled expression. Megan was standing behind him holding their baby. Still dazed, I couldn't understand why I had not seen the two when I came flying down the passageway. Turning his head, Carl called out to his young son, "Carter, Todd's here. Carter, Todd's here, and he's measuring." The boy did not appear, but had to be in one of the two adjoining rooms up the corridor. Then, without a word, Carl stood up and walked past me. Descending the stairs in what can only be described as a sprint, his feet moved so fast they appeared comical. Stepping up to replicate his actions, I stopped when I heard my name. Coming from above and on my right, the sound did not register at first and felt as if it went straight through me. Hearing my name a second time, I questioned where it was coming from. It couldn't be Megan, I told myself. The voice was from a place high and on my right, not left. Looking up and turning a few steps each time my name was called, I was facing the far end of the passageway when I stopped. Hearing my name from below, I looked down to see young Carter standing inches in front of me. Wearing only a diaper, our eyes locked, as I said to myself, "An angel." Staring into his eyes, my first impression was, I thought they would be prettier. Expecting deep blue, His were chestnut, like the darker one of mine. Squatting to get a closer view, we stared at each other, neither saying a word. Exceptionally large, his eyes appeared alien-like, with no whites. Later, I would recall seeing them in a German Shepherd, when he was standing on my chest after he stopped attacking me. Again, this is a story for another day. A short time later, I shifted my focus to the angel's right eye, attempting to locate a pupil. Finding none, my gaze moved to the side of his face, seeking a glow. Seeing nothing, I searched the top of his head for a halo. Hearing my name, our eyes locked once more. When, at that moment, a second angel wrapped his arms around me. Approximately 3 inches in width and centered over my heart, it felt like a warm bath. Holding my focus on the cherub in front of me, I watched as he spoke these words. Use the rail, Todd. Repeating back in the same broken manner, I said, use the rail. There are no words to describe the beauty and perfection of the angel's voice. Breaking his gaze, he turned and walked to the left side of the landing. Placing his tiny hand on the rail, he looked back. The angel had gone. Young Carter was now staring at me with his beautiful human eyes. Patting the handrail, he began repeating over and over, Todd, use rail. Use rail, Todd. Rail, Todd, use. Listening closely, I never heard him repeat the same word twice, which was amazing considering how fast he was speaking and tapping. Having stood up, I nodded my head and repeated, yes, I understand. Use the rail. Yes, I understand. Use the rail. Moving toward young Carter, he stepped back as I approached, allowing me access to the stairs. Reaching out, I gripped the railing and slowly descended the case. Stepping down, it occurred to me the angel must have known I would be killed or injured if I had followed Carl. Reaching the midpoint landing, I stayed beside the banister and moved to the far end of the platform. Extending my hand, I gasped the rail and stepped off. Pausing midway down, I looked in Carl's direction. Watching in my mind's eye as memories began erasing, I stopped turning my head. Everything after the small room and up to the notch was suddenly gone. Telling myself, this must be God's plan, I turned my head fully to the left. Looking at Carl, I wondered, why am I staring at Carl? Motionless and standing midway down the bottom flight of stairs, my head was turned left as my hand gripped the rail. Breaking the trance that seemed to be holding me, I stepped down to the main floor, crossed the hallway, and moved alongside Carl. You know the rest from here. Please look for my follow-up video with Laura. We have something very exciting to share. Again, thank you for your time. Goodbye, and God bless.